I mean, I say this every time this pod starts, man. You can only have a good day when you hear kids sing.
Right?
Who was rapping?
Who was rapping? That was, oh my God. It was, God, that Nappy Roots.
Ah, the Nappy Roots.
And I was about to say the Roots. Nappy Roots.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great song?
Yeah, that's
such a
sweet
good
one.
song. That's what, I don't know. I hate saying that. I hate saying it because I sound old, and my son's music comes out every week. There's a new rapper, and I'm not even making this up. It's a little rapper every week. Little Keed, Little Got It, Little Baby, Little Uzi Vert, Little Wayne, like
Lil
all
Trump.
these. Little Trump?
Do you familiar with Lil Trump?
No.
Oh yeah, he's just the hottest thing out of DC right now.
Yeah.
It's just a teeny tiny rapper. Big hair.
Bars.
He's got bars for sure. He will put you behind bars. He will pardon you.
Pardon you?
He will get you out from behind bars.
He'll lock you up.
He'll lock you up. He'll unlock you. He'll grab you.
By
the rattle. By the now and later.
By the now or later.
Just for a contemporary reference, now and later. If anybody was eating candy in '92, you would get what I just said.
Yes.
You would understand.
Those are the best candy days, man.
Oh, those were good
Those
days.
are the kind that pulled crowns out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Jolly Rancher stick. Remember the sour sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ate that, and I never just sucked on it. I had to try and bite it. I tried to bend it, and a fucking tooth would crack.
Lick-a-Maid, you remember Lick-a-Maid? Lick-a-Maid, to be honest, not a good candy, but a fun process.
A very fun process. The best process.
Get you ready for the dope game.
It felt like cocaine.
Yeah, a lot like cocaine.
Dude, you know what I used to do with that damn thing? I used to eat the sugar, the little sugar, and eat the stick by itself.
Goddamn
not
right.
dip it. Not dip it.
Yeah.
Well, you tell my friends
you
that.
didn't know no better.
No.
You know, you were just a little boy.
Innocent.
You know?
I'm innocent.
Nowadays, I go to a nice cocktail lounge.
Yeah.
I get a Lick-a-Maid. I put a little bump into my cocktail, swirl it up.
That's delicious.
And
sophisticated.
like a grown-up.
Yeah.
Why is he eating it with his pinky up? He's sophisticated.
Yeah, that's a sophisticated Lick-a-Maid also sounds a little bit like a racial slur.
It does.
It doesn't sound comfortable. I don't
know what ethnic group it's offending, but somebody.
I don't go there. I don't go to that neighborhood.
I don't know what ethnic group it's with either, but I know it's oppressed.
Yeah,
for sure. It's
oppressed.
oppressed.
In charge. The Lick-a-Maids aren't in charge. No, the Lick-a-Maid community has been downtrodden too long.
Yeah.
We need to keep
Way
those
too
Lick-a-Maids out.
Yeah, we would not be listening to Lil Trump in the Lick-a-Maid community any longer.
This is what I hate. This is what I hate the most about Lick-a-Maid and everything that it's suffered.
Yeah.
Other candies just steal its culture.
That's right.
Yeah, just steals its
Lick-a-Maid
culture.
appropriation.
Yes, man.
For sure.
Just takes it.
Now and later, you know, they used to sell them in the hallway, and I do think it was preparing people for the dope game.
Yeah.
You know, it was like people would be slanging, you know, a watermelon here, a grape there, you know. Also, I remember this. I don't know if it was true, but when condoms first hit the scene,
I don't know where are we going.
all I'm saying,
What were you selling at your school, Moshe?
in my elementary school, Oakland Public Schools, people started talking about condoms because it was like, you know, AIDS crisis, sex education time, and everybody was bragging about how sexual experience there were, but we were all children, so nobody had any sexual experience. So all these like older class kids, like 5th grade, 6th grade, would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm wearing a condom right now. I'll wear it all day." We're like, "Oh cool, that's how you do it. You roll it on before school, and then you walk around with it all day."
What's holding it up?
If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
But nobody understood any part of the equation. There has to be arousal. No, it's just like, "Oh yeah, I got one on now."
I got one on now. He takes his shoe off. It's on his foot. That's not how you wear a condom,
British knights,
Steve.
you know.
Or what about the fact that you'd have a condom like in middle school for no fucking reason?
Oh yeah,
and you'd have it for years.
Yes,
and it'd be dusty.
Dude, that's so true. You remember the condom ring on the wallet?
Yes.
I had 3 friends that had a condom ring on the wallet.
You thought it made you look cool, but in fact, if there's a scar mark on your wallet, condom. Things aren't good.
Yeah, not good at all.
Into the leather of your wallet.
I lost my virginity when I was 15, and I was ashamed of myself because it had taken me so long. Because all my friends had been bragging for 3 years, and then I realized, and I got older. I go, oh, they were all lying. Everyone was lying.
For sure.
They probably were like, wow, 15.
But can I say something, Moshe? My friends weren't lying.
Oh, you guys.
No, I didn't. I didn't get any until I was like almost 18.
I think in Washington State they fucked a little.
Where we're from, They were. We had
rainy
pregnant
days.
chicks right around 13, but we lived indoor.
It's a raining state.
It rained
Right.
a lot.
You have to. It's wet.
You
and
had
cold.
to.
Yeah.
You had to keep warm somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it had to be inside a vagina.
Right.
And a lot of pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our schools had babies in them. That's the truth, huh?
Yeah.
So
True story.
our friends weren't lying, but I was lying. Yeah.
18.
I said I would tell people I had sex, but I didn't have sex.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, 18 is when I had sex with this girl. It was actually my sister's best friend.
Oh,
You
I didn't know.
her.
I do. I'm glad you said
And,
best friend. I was
yeah.
like, wow, it really
It
was
was-
crazy in Washington.
And then, like I said, cabin fever, bro.
Yeah.
You use your
Hey, no
resources,
judgment,
man.
By the way, I mean,
yeah.
whatever, however you lick a maids do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Stop oppressing us. Yeah. I'm not till 18, so 15. Damn.
15 young. I was a gnarly little kid, though. I was
Yeah.
a little bastard.
Really?
You know, I ran into her, by the way. I ran at Burning Man like 2 years ago, and she came up to me, and she was talking to me, and she was just like beautiful, by the way. And
I wouldn't have thought anything else.
no, thank you
Moshe.
so much. But
Yeah.
I know she was like, "How are you? How's so and so? How's Joey doing?" And I was just
How
looking
does she
at her,
know about
and I was
us?
just like,
That's
"Who
okay.
is this person?"
And who
I-
are these people you're asking me?
No, the names, the references
Yeah,
were hitting.
yeah. Right,
and I
right.
was like, how does this random Burning Man, like, airy fairy, like, hippie goddess know all my old friends from Oakland? Because, you know, that's a life and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then she walked away, and she was like with her husband, too. And I almost screamed. It came to me so suddenly. My wife was there, too. I almost screamed, "That's the girl I lost my virginity to!" Like, I had
That's
no idea.
And she
hilarious.
expected that you remembered. She
100%.
expected that was special for you.
I know.
And it wasn't.
I mean, it was.
No,
It's-
not
no.
really.
I know.
Women.
I know. You're right.
Did Natasha get mad?
No, she doesn't care.
Because women don't care about that stuff.
She knows the hoe she married.
Yeah. That hoe named Moshe Kasher.
I ran into the girl I lost my virginity to years later.
Yeah.
And it went a little different. It was
Yes.
yeah. I said, hey, how are you? How you doing? And she goes, "Get the fuck away from me."
What did you do?
I don't know, man. She just went off on me. It was crazy.
But you have no idea why?
Nothing. No idea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were probably an asshole. You were probably an asshole.
We
No,
were all
man.
You were probably
assholes.
a player. We were all assholes.
15 years old. How could you? 18?
Yeah.
How old were you?
13.
Yeah, how could you not be an asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our-
I
all,
probably was. Yeah.
all of our dicks smelled like hand dirt.
Mine smelled like condoms because I wore them all the time. Every day, all day.
I think
so
mine smelled
funny.
like a jock strap because I always came straight from football practice.
Did you?
Me too.
To do my.
Can you believe
to do
it?
my
You
dirty
played
work.
football.
Oh yeah, I was a the
Moshe.
wide man. I was a wide man.
You were a
wide
wide man,
man?
Yeah.
oppressing them liquor-maids. That's what you were. You were the most powerful wide man there in that
Yeah.
community, and you got them liquor-maids.
I was a quarter halfer, half a back.
Half a
I was
quarterback.
a pickleback.
A
a
pickleback.
pickleback.
No, they called me Jewback. I was a Jewback.
a Jewback.
I was Chewbacca.
You were Chewbacca from the hit movie Star Wars.
That's right.
Here's the reason why I asked about Natasha getting mad is girls don't care about that shit. I don't ever want to know anyone you had sex with.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about your ex-boyfriends.
Yeah.
And if they walk up to you, you better fucking turn and walk away when I'm near you.
You better act like you do not know who
Bro,
the fuck they
for
are.
real, do not give me the image of the man that had sex with you because it will be burnt in my brain forever. I don't want it.
I just don't care.
You don't
Are you
care?
not the
I
same?
don't
You
care.
don't care?
Oh, no, I don't care.
That's a grown man.
Well, I don't know. It's a
No,
Bay Area
no,
thing.
you're a
I think
grown
it's
man.
a Bay Area thing. It's like some hippie shit. Like I don't relate the whole idea of like that person's been there, so
You know
he's
what?
still
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
like
yeah.
Wow,
what does
that
that
makes
have to do
sense.
with me?
That
Yeah.
makes sense. You come from a different generation.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
mom and dad are from the Bay?
My mother's from the Bay. My dad was from New York. My dad was like an Orthodox Jew, so that was less celebratory of female sexuality.
Can
I
you
would
tell?
say.
I hate to be ignorant,
Yeah.
Moshe. I don't know what an Orthodox Jew is.
Okay, well, Orthodox Jews are just any of the ones you see with the little hat on.
Oh, that's your dad?
Yeah, but my dad goes for not all of them. They're not all my dad.
right there on that. Right there on.
If I go to Fairfax.
Fairfax.
If I walk down Fairfax,
right by the furniture store.
I go to that furniture store. I scream, "Dad!" Any man in the vicinity
Your
with a
dad.
beard will just comfort me.
Just past Pink's.
No, yeah. If I go to Pink's, I just scream, "Daddy!" A man with a beard and a yarmulke will come. He'll wrap me up in his beard, and he'll just hold me for if I need that.
Moshe, do you have your condom on your penis? What are you doing here? Where's your mother?
It's modified too for us. No, my dad, but that's just an Orthodox. It's Orthodox is just a little cap.
Oh,
my dad
okay.
was beyond that.
What is he?
The one you thought the beard and the black hat and the fold down hat and that was my dad. That's more intense.
So what is that?
That's beyond Orthodox?
They call that ultra Orthodox.
Ultra Orthodox. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And is that just a stricter form?
Great branding.
What's that?
That's great branding.
Good brand. Well, listen, we invented the form. Branding, that's kind of our thing.
Wow. Yeah. No, and I hate to be this guy, Moshe. I really don't.
But you hate the Jews?
I hate them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hate you're that guy as well.
I hate
that is my
them
least favorite kind of
so
guy.
much. I'll take a lick-a-back, a lick-a-stick, a chico-stick before I
Listen, I hate to be this guy.
So much bigotry so early in the day.
It started off with an abstraction. We didn't even know what the liquor-maids were. We figured it out. It's the Jews.
It's the Jews. Oh,
they make me so angry.
God. No.
Yes.
Okay, so there's the Orthodox, and then there's the ultra Orthodox, and then there's Adam Sandler.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's how we actually quantify it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
On our chart.
That's in the book.
On our chart.
That's in the book.
That's in the Bible.
You're gonna doubt. You're gonna question Adam Sandler,
Right.
the greatest Jew of all times.
Yeah, no. Adam's definitely in the pantheon of great Jews. Yeah, Moses.
He's my favorite.
He's definitely certainly one of my favorites.
It's Adam Sandler, then Jesus.
Yeah, and well, we don't consider him one of ours anymore.
Yeah. Who? Jesus. This is a bad show. This is a bad show.
I know.
Are we gonna cut this at 13:37?
I was about to ask.
just before his Me Too sentence and
I was going to ask. I was like, "Is there anything I need to know?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, we're just doing this." Yeah, okay, cool.
That's funny. So, no, what? Okay, this is what I'm saying, and complete ignorance on my part. And if you want to ask me about my religion, feel free, because I don't even know it. My mom's Catholic. We only go twice a year now, and I know that's an ongoing joke that everyone says it's Catholic, but it's 100% true with us. It's Christmas and it's Easter. That's it.
2 worst days of the year for me.
Do I practice it? No.
Me and my people. I mean, that's just 2 days of true suffering.
Yeah.
It's like they get colored eggs.
Yeah. Colored fucking eggs.
That's suffering.
And guess what? I still look for them. I still look for them.
And there's oddly a bunny involved too.
Yeah. Sure.
So the guys with the hats.
Yeah, okay.
And there's the guys with the
yarmulkes.
Yeah. And then there's the guys that don't wear them at all, but they're
like, you mean people like me?
you.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam Sandlers.
So, yeah, the Adam Sandlers.
The Adam
That's
Sandlers.
What but okay, so is it just like Catholics? Is it just like us? Like, and I'm not saying by the religion we preach, there's people that take it serious. There's people that are kind of serious, and then there's people like, yo, man, do I gotta go?
100%. Except the weird thing about Judaism is that it comes from a time in religious history where there was no. There used to be 5,000 years ago. There was no difference between your ethnicity and your religion, right? Yeah. Like so, the only 2 religions that are still left from that time are Hinduism and Judaism. That might not be totally true, but those are the 2 big ones that are still around.
Yeah.
And so there was never any difference between being a Jew and being a religious Jew because it represented your ethnicity as much as it did your belief system. Right? And then times went on. Christianity dropped. They dropped that mixtape. And Christianity introduced this new idea in people's minds, which was that religion was about your belief system and your choice. Right? That was the new idea that Christianity brought to the table and Buddhism kind of did that too a little bit. Like, if you believe this thing, then you can join. Then Islam came along, same idea. Like, we're going to go through the world and we're going to tell people, here's the good news, and then people can go, oh, I will join that. I'm in that. I want to be in that group. That sounds like something that I believe. But before that time, there was no such thing. You go, what do you believe? Well, what does it matter what I believe? I'm a Hebrew. I was born in ancient Palestine. I'm this kind of person.
This is what I am.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why Jews who are like if you're a Catholic and you truly reject Catholicism, right? And I have a degree in religion, so I'm not just completely.
This is so awesome.
I'm not completely
and I hope, Moshe, in no way am I trying to be like, yo, so what's the? It's like, because when you live in Hollywood, no, but when you drive in Hollywood, you know, I have a lot of Jewish friends, and there's a lot of different ones. You know what I mean? Like when I go down Fairfax, you see it, and I'm just like, okay, is that a different? You know what I mean? Like, is it a different?
I get it. Yeah.
Some of my best friends are liquor-maids. I mean, I know where you're coming from.
You got it. You got it. So no, but what is that like?
So I can break it all down. So
yeah.
So then, okay. So they here comes Christianity, which introduces this idea, which is that it's about faith. It's about a relationship with God. Before that, it wasn't about that. It was about birth. It was about who you were. And so that's why it's a little different if you're a Catholic and you truly reject Catholicism. Like, it doesn't sound like that's you. You're just not a practicing Catholic, but you're still like culturally affiliated on some level or whatever.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Then you're still, but if you reject it fully, if you say, fuck that, I want nothing to do with that, I don't believe in God, I'm certainly not a Catholic, then you cease to be a Catholic, right?
Yeah.
You're just not a Catholic anymore. But when you're Jewish, it's not quite like that because it's so old school that if you go, oh, I have no interest in that religion anymore, you're still kind of like, you're still annoying, I guess. You still have allergies.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're still a Jew.
Yeah,
that's why you got
still a Jew.
That's why you got like Woody Allen and like Albert Einstein was a little bit more connected to it, but like true Jewish atheists, people that just have nothing to do with the Jewish religion, and they're still completely Jews, right? So
there's a religion and there's the culture.
That's right. And there's a little bit of the ethnicity. Like there's diseases that only Jews get. You know what I mean? Like you know. You get really hungry unless you have you eat gold coins, you know, things like that. Like,
my God.
No, but they're really are. They're really. I'm just joking.
I'm not participating in this anymore.
Joking.
It went from liquor maids.
No, there really are diseases.
To Jews eating gold and diamonds.
I swear to God, there are really Jewish diseases. You have to be careful for when you're dating Jews. You have to both get tested for specific diseases because if you're both carriers for that,
no way.
Then you can have a really fucked up baby.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
is this real?
I swear to God, yeah. It's Tay-Sachs is the name of it, and there's another one called Gaucher's that my father actually had. He wasn't that bad off, but actually he was. He was deaf. You know, my dad was deaf, and he's no longer deaf. He's dead, so he can hear me in heaven. But
that's
you didn't know about that?
That's nice.
Yeah.
You know what he's saying in heaven? You know what he's saying? Tell that liquor maid how we really feel.
Stop asking about my people.
I didn't know you get all your senses back when you die. That's weird.
Well, I don't know about all of them.
No,
but definitely when you're deaf, it flips.
Nice,
right?
Oh,
but if you have no sense of taste when you go to heaven, then you still can't taste things. It's really a raw deal for those specific people. Yeah,
it's bad.
That's hard.
Thank you.
Yeah, well.
You still didn't kind of answer.
He's like, I'm not done.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
still didn't kind of, and I think the people listening to the pod still don't know.
Okay.
I just
I can keep
because
going.
there's a uniform. You know what I mean? There's an actual uniform.
So the uniform. So the uniform comes about. Okay. So we're in Israel or Palestine. I'm talking old school, talking Jesus time, right? Old days.
And they had Armani suits back then with fedoras.
That's
okay. I'm just saying because it's ancient. They probably went to the old Bloomingdale's right next to the pyramids.
It is so funny to me.
Double-breasted suits.
I think it's
half off.
Your stereotype of a Jew in an Armani suit is such a high crust level of Jew.
Bad.
To me, I'm thinking way less than that because
my God, you're bad.
No, the Jews that I grew up with were poor because they had like 20 kids.
Yeah.
So Armani suit Jews, those we're already in a much more modern version of Jew. So okay, you really want me to break this all the way down?
No,
because I can.
No, you're amazing. Well, by the way, this conversation that we're having is so cool. I love it. This is stuff we talk about when we're not doing the pod. It's just beautiful to see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like religion is like when you said culturally, it's like, I'm going to back away from it, but it's my blood.
Yeah,
it's like I can't back away from it. You know what I mean? And it is me.
Well, I think actually,
but I like to open up my mind and hear about other people because that's what this is. That's what life is.
I do think that Catholicism, more than any other branch of Christianity, is because it's the most old school version of Christianity. It still has those weird trappings of like you're born into it, you're kind of always in it, faith or not. The further you go towards Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation, because that was Martin Luther's whole thing, was that we're going to just burst the whole thing wide open and say it's fully choice. Right? Because before that, Catholics, they had a little bit more of a monopoly. They were like, you go through us, the priest will talk to God. It's just like weird, like,
I know him.
I'm the guy in the corner. You don't
I'm
talk
a saint. I've done a miracle. No one's seen it, but it happened.
Yeah, you don't talk to Escobar. You talk to me. I'm on the corner. If you want that good dope, I got it. I'm the guy that's got it.
It's in one of these walls. I'll tell you which one.
And then Protestants came along and were like, just go to Colombia.
Straight to the plug. Straight to the plug.
Take that Cessna to Colombia. The dope is sitting right there. Get down there.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what happened. This fully choice-based idea came along in religion, and Judaism. We used to be this ancient sort of ethnicity, but then the Romans came to. I'm giving you like the quick
Dude, I love it.
Notes. Came to Israel, kicked all the Jews out of Palestine for a number of reasons, but they were historically very uninterested in ever assimilating into other cultures. So the Romans, their whole thing is they would go to a culture and they would kind of like the culture would become more Roman and Rome would become more the culture in that region, and they would kind of borrow from each other. The ultimate thing was that they became Catholics. Right?
Yeah.
That's what is it? I think Constantine. Is it? No, it's not Constantine. August. Somebody. One of the Roman emperors was like, oh, we're Catholics now. Because that's the ultimate Roman thing, is they were like, we see the writing on the wall. We'll just be Catholics so that we can keep this power thing going. The Jews had no interest in that. Right?
Yeah.
And so nobody liked them. No one was interested in them.
Yeah.
So they eventually when they came to Rome, they say they lost more Roman soldiers taking that little teeny part of the Middle East of Israel than the whole Arabian subcontinent that they were trying to conquer. So all right, they kicked all the Jews out.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Jews. Take your camels with you.
Yeah.
So then the Jews scattered, right? They went all over the world. They went to Europe. They went to Spain. They went to Africa. They went to China. They were all over the place. They went to Lycomedistan. Like they got.
I love that place.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah,
Beaches are amazing.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, really sweet.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
No, I loved it. So the beach, the sand on the beach. If you grab just a stick, you can eat it straight.
Eat the sand. It's so
like
crazy.
It looks like cocaine.
Oh, I love it when the
sticky.
sand went into the water and the water turned purple. So cool.
That was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. God, it was a good time.
So the Jews scattered all over the world.
Yes.
And then they were all over. And this is where a lot of Jewish stereotype and anger comes from, and racism comes from.
Yes.
From what happened as a result of scattering all over the world. Because the Jews no longer had a state, so they became like a wandering people. So that's where you get this idea of like the wandering Jew that has no affiliation to the home that they're in, because really they're Jews first, but they're not of the country.
Can I interrupt real quick? Because I love this story so far. Why didn't they ever fight?
Why didn't they ever fight?
Why didn't they just fight? If people kept pushing them out of the lands that they were in, why didn't they fight? Were they just outnumbered? Were you know what I mean? Like
well, I think human survival. First of all, they were disempowered.
Okay.
But it's a good question. Like, why not fight? But fight for what? To go where? I mean, the same question is true with African slaves in the Americas. Why didn't they all just revolt? Well, because every time they did a small revolt, such unfathomable consequences would come to them that the rest of the people would go, okay, there's no, and also, what's the end game, right? Like the most successful slave revolt ever was in Haiti, and. It was, what was the guy's name? There was some general in Haiti.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, Bloodsport.
He's a dick.
Yeah, and he's
a dick.
The way they did it was
the way he treated.
He would take two chairs and he would do the
split.
Yeah,
he would do the splits, and then everyone, if you didn't walk under it, like, you know what I mean? If your back touched the ground, done. They
you would
killed
do the limbo.
You had the limbo between
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah,
and that was the most successful slave revolt ever.
Most successful.
But I think that's what it is, especially in the Americas. I mean, at least in Haiti, you were like kind of sort of close to Africa, or maybe there was this idea that you could repel the colonial forces from coming. But if you're a black slave in America, so you throw off the shackles of the oppressor, then where do you go?
Then where do you go?
Yeah, well, you're still there, and you're still surrounded. Same thing is true with the Jews. The same thing's true with the Jews in Europe.
Yeah.
They could fight, but then what? Then where do they go? They don't have anywhere to go. So they, you get out of here, Spanish.
Got it.
And then what?
And then yeah.
So
that's awesome. So they all migrated into different areas. China,
they migrated to different
Europe.
areas. And then Christianity has a rule, I don't think they really follow this anymore, but old school Catholicism, which is no usury. No, you can't lend money to another Christian at interest, right? That's against the rules. Okay. And so, but still, commerce has to happen because they were living in this pseudo-capitalist society. So what do? How do they? You need money lenders in order for people to borrow money to create businesses.
I think this is where it gets weird.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's been weird for a while.
So when do the diamonds kick in? Huh? When does Ben Bridge take over? That's what we want to find out.
You think it gets weird now, not when the slaves could have freed themselves by Macarenaing under Jean-Claude Van Damme's dick?
That was truth.
Oh, you're
This
right.
shit you're talking? Weird. Sorcery. This guy's a witch. And we got a little fire pit for you at the end of this pod. Moshe Kasher. That's not even a real name.
So the Jews started lending money at interest. I mean, who do you hate more than the person who you?
Oh, wait a minute.
Creditor?
So Christians couldn't lend money
to other
Christians
with interest.
Right.
You just lent it.
Or more likely, you didn't lend it, right?
Oh, you didn't lend it.
Because, I mean, I'll lend you money because you're my friend,
Yes.
but I'm not going to lend some stranger that wants to start a bagel factory.
Yes.
I don't know this guy.
Yes.
Right? But I'm also legally, I can't lend you money at interest, so there's commerce has to happen. Here come the Jews to fill that gap. They'll lend you the money at interest. Who do you hate more than your creditor, the person that's calling you, trying to foreclose on your house? I mean, that's the worst person in the world.
Yeah, right.
The Jew.
It becomes the Jew.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You thought that was short.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My bad. It's so crazy because sometimes creditors call me from from overseas, and I'm like, is this a Jew?
You're like, is this Moshe's
or
dad?
is this a Filipino?
No, you go, is this the Jew?
Is this the Jew?
Are you Moshe's dad calling from heaven?
Moshe's dad couldn't speak or hear. This is awesome. I love this.
Well, good.
Okay, so they created
that happened.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other ones too that these like classic ideas of the and the other thing was when you're a creditor you become rich. And when you're rich, you become powerful. And so there were Jews in these areas of power in government, and they were like a foreigner, this outsider. What are you even doing here? And now all of a sudden you're like the advisor to the king, or So then what started to happen is they started to get booted. They started to get like 86'd from country to country. Most of the Jews, right after they got expelled, went to Spain. Because it was pretty close. And then the Spanish Inquisition came along, and they were like, let's get these Jews out of here. And they were like, we don't want you here. They started to kick all the Jews out of Spain or convert. They say convert or die, right?
Yeah.
That was the
All
beginning
because
of
of lending?
It's not that simple. It's not that simple.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
No, but it's the deeper magic of the thing is that it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
No, I was,
Yeah.
but like I wanted to make sure I was right. I
Yeah.
didn't want to just say something like that. But it's especially Spanish culture. You know
Right,
that.
right.
It's Jesus is supreme there.
Exactly.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
Have you been to Spain?
No.
Oh my God, it's the dopest, most awesome place ever.
Really?
Oh, it's so good. Spain and Germany, those are my two spots. No, they actually are pretty cool places.
You're a dick.
But Spain,
You're a dick.
The national.
You better stop that right now,
Don't
Moshe
you
Kasher.
turn this on me.
You're the one.
I'm one of
You're
me.
the one.
I'm one of me.
How are you going to make Germany your vacation hotspot? How dare you?
I did go to Germany.
Through.
I did go to Germany when I was a young man, and I was really. You walk around and you go, damn, this is really nice.
It's sad, right?
But no, you're like, this is like.
No, it's beautiful,
It's
but
a
then
beautiful
you
place,
but you
and
also have to realize what happened.
You picture these ghosts
Yeah.
of people there, like
Yeah.
And I said on my first stand-up album, I said I was playing a game in Germany called walking around the streets of Berlin, going, "What kind of Nazi would you have been?" Looking at the people walking towards me, like you see all these nice, lovely, young, fuckable people, and you're just like, how could this society? Anyway, it's really funny stuff on my first stand-up album. But
Obviously crushing right now.
I could tell
stuff,
when the deep, thick silence,
Yeah.
like it felt like physical.
Yeah. No, but I get. I'm not listening for the joke. I'm appreciating where that joke came from.
It's real.
We always have to take our realities, our hurts and our pains, and embellish it and make it funny. But that is a crazy reality that you experience.
It's
to
intense.
stand there and really reflect back, like, yo, just not even that long ago.
Right.
Not even that long ago. Just 2 lives ago.
Yeah. Right.
Was fucking here.
Yeah.
Like worried about tomorrow or today. That's crazy, man.
It's wild.
That's a wild thing to see. Like,
well, it's also the kind of thing that, I mean, I'm sure, both of you have some version of this, that
Of
whatever
course.
your historical story is that your culture, your ethnicity is raised with, it
Dude,
becomes a part of your sort of historical memory too, that you walk around with all the
Going
time.
to my mom's birthplace and seeing children barefoot taking rainwater and giving themselves a bath, completely naked, but with a smile on their face, playing with a little toy truck when they're done. That's fucking hard to look at.
Yeah.
And hard to
And
not
to know that
trade,
my mom came from that.
and hard to not trade your own reality, because
Exactly.
it's a success too,
Exactly.
to go like, whoa, how did we do this
What the
switcheroo? How do we do this life switch?
And if my mom never made it to America, I would have been that kid.
Yeah,
And that's the reality. That's the reality.
I was in Arkansas and I was walking around and I was just like, what kind of Klansman would you have been?
It's the same exact, yeah.
Nope.
Doesn't work?
No.
I
man.
thought it was
Why?
hilarious. I love that area.
How does that not work?
No, but it's so real.
No, but you're right though. But no,
He said no.
no, but that's crazy to think. Like I'm not disrespect. I mean that. Like
No,
now I
yeah.
understand what you're getting at. But like from the South, like when you go there and visit, like we call the South, like especially black people claim the South now. You know what I mean? You go to Atlanta, it's the South.
We were
like,
just listening to the old Nappy Roots.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And, but to think that Georgia,
Yeah,
bro, how many? What happened?
for sure. And
Holy
like you
shit.
said, and like you said, again, not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. That's our reality.
So you walk around with that kind of programming, so it becomes like a part of your story. But I actually became really obsessed with the idea of anti-Semitism being this almost mystical. It's almost like a magical force, because it traveled with the Jews wherever they went, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you said, like it couldn't have been all money. No, part of it was that they were they thought of as like the Christ killers, and part of it was that they had this kind of like this mythological, scary stain that people didn't trust them, and on and on and on. So they got to Europe, and they started going through Europe. Spain kicked them out, and they would go where they every time one country would kick them out, another country would say, "Well, you can come here because we
need money."
or
right?
we need these people." Because I'm painting an odd picture, because most Jews were very poor, right? And most Jews weren't like bankers and money lenders, but like this was.
They were good with money, though. If you were a rich businessman, right? Am I wrong?
People in Jewish culture that had that role in society, and so they were.
There's nothing wrong with stereotypes, Moshe. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's the stereotype of that's in your culture. It's like me saying Filipinos have nothing but nurses. Not all of us are nurses.
In the end,
but
I
a
think
lot of us are nurses.
When it's attached to evil, though, when they say this is what you are, and Christians couldn't do this, so now you're a bad person because this is what you are. You know what I mean?
But it's also 100%. I mean, it's like saying like, oh yeah, so then the black people would go here because they were good at sport. Well, it's like no, I mean maybe some people were, but
not this one.
We are pretty good at
This one's fucking.
well,
This
so are
one.
the Jews. The Jews are classically great at sports.
Nope. No, man.
No,
man.
Now that's a stereotype
There's-
you've never heard before.
Yeah. That
We're
one's
good at chess.
that's a first.
We can play chess like nobody else.
Yeah. Starting center, Moshe Kasher.
The center of the podcast
Center
game.
of the podcast. Starting center of attention, Moshe Kasher.
Well, there is that too, because eventually it came Yiddish culture. Then when we hit Eastern Europe, they were welcomed into Poland and Germany and places like that. Then created this new language called Yiddish, which is a hybridized version of German and Hebrew.
Did not know that.
Yiddish is its own language, and from Yiddish spoken language came this very rich culture of theater, burlesque, performance, comedy. There is no stand-up comedy without Yiddish, early Yiddish theater and burlesque.
Really?
It straight up doesn't
They
exist.
started that.
Well, I mean, there's also like jesters and old school, traveling bards that would, that's more like white people stand up with the bells and they'd be juggling a chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Jews...
Hard to do, by the way.
Hard, yeah, right.
Hard to fucking... What a fight.
Filipinos are good at juggling chickens.
Juggle chickens all the time. Goddamn right. That's how we choose. Yeah.
Wait, which chicken?
Yeah. Some of the kids would be like, drop the heavy one. Drop the heavy one, Ma. We're really hungry. Drop the heavy one.
Also, the kids will scatter towards the chicken that drops.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving so quickly.
I think we're with you.
No, we're gonna get. We're gonna get. I believe we're gonna get to today.
I'm just trying to get to the suit.
Yeah, it's about to come.
It's all about that goddamn suit on Fairfax,
it's
man.
Starting right now.
Okay, cool.
Yiddish culture comes around, and now we've got religious people and non-religious people. Everybody lives in the same community because the Jews can't really live outside of their own communities because every country could pretend they're like, come on, we welcome you, but most of the countries will put you in the ghetto. Also, the first ghetto is the neighborhood where the Jews lived. They would put them in a specific neighborhood and say, you all live here. So all the Jews, religious Jews, non-religious Jews, the rabbi and the comedian all lived in the same town, in the same community, doing their little Jew thing, right? And then came this guy called the Baal Shem Tov. He's a famous rabbi who was like, he was kind of a Jesus type of figure, kind of. He was like, let's reform everything, and let's make Judaism kind of weird, right? Let's like get back to the spiritual essence. Like this religion is so old, it's so stuck in its sort of law.
Let's modernize it.
Modernize, actually, it was more like weirdify it, let's make it weird.
Why though?
Like, like the Sufis in Islam, or I wonder if there's I don't know if there's one of these in Catholicism. Kind of the Jesuits are kind of like that, but they're like smart. They're like, their thing is to be smart, but there's these like mystics essentially who like, let's make things weird.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
Wait, can I get a date?
This is like the 18, I'm not a historian, but late 1700s, I think, early 1800s, something like that.
Early 1800s.
At any rate, they became this group, the Hasidic Jews. That's the Hasidic, the start of Hasidic Judaism, right? So everybody calls all the Jews that dress a certain way Hasidic Jews, but only some of them actually are. They come from this lineage of this like weird rabbi that was like, let's start doing things funky style, and let's start dancing around, that like circle dance, like that's Hasidic Judaism, and let's start singing and dancing instead of
what
just
about
like
curly sideburns.
That's Hasidic, 100%. The long curly sideburn. Because in the Bible it says something weird about
Is that from this? This is from that guy?
That's from that guy. So
what's his name again?
The Baal Shem Tov, the master of the good name. That's right. So
is that really what it's?
Yeah, master of the good name.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's the one that created.
Well,
that?
In the Bible it says something weird about don't cut your temple with a blade, right?
And he took that as grow your sideburns like pork chops.
Show the world that you ain't no punk.
Yeah,
when it comes to that rule, you're trying to pull it out.
You get into a street fight, tuck it behind your ears. There you
take
go.
your gold hoop earrings out,
wrap it around your ears, look like
and then you
Princess
get
Leia.
going. And then when the dude falls, you unwrap, choke him out, right? And then you whisper "lick-a-maid," and then you let him drop.
This is good. This is good.
So those are the Hasidic Jews.
Okay.
Something happened around that time where everybody got like obsessed with that time in Jewish history. And that's why everybody now dresses like they are in a Eastern European Jewish shtetl in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Because they're not dressing, it doesn't seem that way. It is that way. They haven't changed their style, their dress, their look since that period of history.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to do this like past perfect kind of living. Like that's the time we have to get back to, kind of like the Amish do.
Got it.
Like the Amish are old school, but they don't dress like cavemen. They dress like men in you know the Amsterdam in the 1700s. So it's the same kind of thing. Gotcha. They're all stuck in this particular time in history where
because that's the good time.
I guess so.
Is that what that be?
And that's what the pilgrimage or whatever you would call it on Friday evenings.
Oh, Shabbat evening. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Not pilgrimage.
Pretty good, man.
Thank you, sir.
It wasn't really.
It wasn't a compliment at all. Okay. Shit. Take that back.
Yeah. So because I used to live in Valley Village, and so
a lot of them right there on Chandler.
To me, that's the funniest. The funniest Hasidic Jews of all are the ones that live in L.A. Because at least in New York, they're like sequestered. You know, they really have because New York's like a city of walls because of the tall buildings. But in LA, it's like there's like Kim Kardashian's ass doing like a vitamin water billboard, and then right downstairs from that, it's like there's something so bizarre about LA, and it's hotter here. You know, they're still wearing the wool.
The wool on,
They also moved back to Israel too. I mean, they're still wearing the wool. Well, so okay, I'll get us to here. It'll be 1 more minute. Right. So that all happened. They all went to. Now here's the interesting part. The only place where they didn't put the Jews into ghettos and they really allowed them to assimilate into European society, a little bit England, but the place where the Jews were the most assimilated.
Can I guess? Can we guess?
Yeah.
You go first.
The most fully integrated into society. Very few religious Jews, the most integrated into the society in which they lived. In
Russia.
No.
I want to choose between Berlin or France.
It's Germany. Yes, it's Germany.
Fuck.
So that's the craziest part is that of all the countries in Europe, the place where they were the most like German and not different, not other, was in the place where the Holocaust was literally dreamed up. Yeah. So that's why it starts to become, maybe this is about more than it has something more to do more than just like, oh, these stereotypes or they wouldn't assimilate. There's something more like deep hatred. This kind of like, it's similar actually to African Americans in America. It's like no matter how up the ladder you go, there's still this like stain of original sin of racism. You know, there's still, you can get all the way to the top, but there's still redlining, and there's still, you're still going to get, you can be, you know, a CEO, and you're still more likely to get pulled over than, you know, somebody that works at, you know, as a checker at Walmart. You know, there's this like deep kind of weird magic racism that's underneath it all.
I'm depressed now.
Yeah, well, it's depressing. It's hard to not be.
That's true, though.
No,
if you're depressed now, just wait until the next part of the story, which is the Holocaust. That'll pop you out of it. Now things are getting better.
You mean happy time?
Yeah, the happy time. That's what it's German for happy time. And the Holocaust that came, I'll go through this quickly, but it was another final scattering of the Jews. Kicked them all out again. It killed half of them, literally half of the Jews in the world were killed in the Holocaust, and there were not that many to begin with.
Here's another ignorant question because I don't know. Is there a mass gravesite that you can visit?
Yeah, I mean, there's the camps. There? Yeah, you
can go there.
The concentration camps.
And it's still there.
It is still there. Yeah. Although here's a weird thing: all the camps were in Poland. God, this is a comedy podcast, right?
No, this is great.
All the camps in this. All the camps were in not all of them, but most of them were in Poland. Yeah. And the story is that, I mean, this is a very weird time in history, but now the story is that when Hitler tried to take France, the French fought, they lost, and then the partisans began and they fought against I'm not saying there were no Polish partisans, but the story is when they went to Poland, Hitler was welcomed like with parades and like, come on in, like get down, hell yeah, it's Hitler time, baby. Yeah. And then all the camps were in Poland, all the guards were Polish, but there's a new law in Poland now that is it's illegal to say that Poland was complicit in the Holocaust. You are not allowed to say that. The official thing that you must always say is that the Polish were were the victims of German sort of atrocity or whatever. Yeah. Which my whole family's from Poland and was from Poland and was slaughtered. So it's a little difficult to swallow that particular pill. But at the end of the war, they killed half of them. At the end of the war, they basically, nobody wanted to go back to where they came from at the end of that, right? Yeah. So the Jews kind of scattered to the winds again. And the two places they ended up, well, not two. Some went to France. Some went because that was still a place that was, fighting against the Germans. Some went to England. A lot went to America. And a lot went to what would eventually become the State of Israel. And so that's now where everybody kind of... And then people have slowly gone back to Europe over the years. And there were a lot in the Soviet Union as well. But the Soviet Union had some problems with Jews that were kind of separate. But my point of saying all of that was, well, first of all, it gets us to today.
My point to all that is they started buying suits.
Armani suits.
Armani.
And I'm here. That's why I'm here. Thank you. I'm here to tell you about the rich quality of wool and silk available in Armani's new 2020 suit collection.
Suit collection.
Yeah.
For the Hasidic Jew.
For the Hasidic Jew in you.
With a... That was an amazing lesson.
Well, that's definitely the Cliff's Notes version. But I know what I was going to say. The Jews that you now encounter. This is
the ones on Fairfax.
The ones on Fairfax, but any Jew that you now encounter that is wearing an outfit that is so odd that you kind of go like, that's a different kind of person. It should always be stated that those people are the Jews that their reality is post-Holocaust Jew. And if they seem unfriendly or they seem uninterested in outsiders, I don't know if it was like a kumbaya and everybody's welcome before the Holocaust, but it's just different now because all of those people, I'm not talking about people like me and Adam Sandler. We're kind of assimilated American folks that are just, there's nothing different about us than anybody else. But I always give a grain of salt to the unfriendliness that's talked about in the Hasidic community. Yeah, there are some issues with unfriendliness to surrounding communities and uninterestedness in communicating with outsiders. But a lot of that is because those people's grandparents and parents were the people that were literally kicked out, were the final kick out of 10 kickouts in a row that culminated in the Holocaust. The slaughter, it's like I was watching Malcolm X last night. I was showing Natasha. And she was like, I just don't. She was like, there's like the Nation of Islam, like, they just hate white people so much. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, can't you see how they got there? It just seems so. You can see the mathematics of it. And at a certain point, you go, I can't. There's nothing there for me in this external society, so I'm going to fold in and create a closed society. That's very similar to what happened.
It's a distrust. It's a feeling of distrust.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That was such a cool lesson. And now, is there between you and the Hasidic?
Yeah.
Is there some type of? And that's it in any culture. There's people in my culture that we're like, oh, fucking hate the
beef?
Is there a beef?
Oh,
in so many.
But
do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when I see those people, because my dad was one of them.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
My personal family's history is very complicated. My great grandfather moved from Hungary. He wasn't Polish. The Polish are on the other side of the family. But my father's mother's father moved here from Hungary. Before the Holocaust, and then 12 years later sent for my grandmother, and by the time she came, she was like, fuck this, fuck Judaism, I'm out of here, this sucks. And so my father was raised pretty secular because her religious father had abandoned her, so she was raised really secular, didn't like Judaism, didn't like religion. She was like a civil rights communist card-carrying Communist Party member in New York in the early 30s and 40s, and she hated religious Judaism. But my father's grandfather was in this community in upstate New York that was like basically a shtetl transported to upstate New York. And when my dad and my mom split, my father, who had never been religious before, became kind of born again and became super religious again. Yeah. And so that's my personal reality. I was raised in Oakland with my mom. I did summer vacations on the shtetl, so I would go back home literally and be like, all the kids in the neighborhood were like Yiddish speakers, straight up. I remember I was trying to learn Hebrew from the local rabbi. I didn't even know how to read the Hebrew language and the alphabet, which is like basic stuff that any Adam Sandler Jew would know. So my Judaism was so split. Like I was so not religious 9 months out of the year. Oakland Public Schools, full-on California secular kid, like absolutely no connection to it. Fly home for 3 months, and I would literally put on slacks, a little yarmulke, and go into the shtetl and be like, does anybody understand me? You know, like, so the rabbi was nice. He took a shine to me, and he's like, I'm going to teach this kid the Hebrew alphabet. And I'm struggling with it because I just don't know. It's a whole foreign language. And I'm getting embarrassed. And he goes, oh, you're embarrassed. Don't worry. Hold on. And he calls his son in. His son, who's second generation American, probably 9 years old, in America his entire life, Eastern European accent.
Wow.
Like straight up, talks like Dracula.
Yeah.
Born in America. Likely, if you were like, this dude lives in Brooklyn. Likely, if you were like, go Yankees, he'd be like, what is the Yankee? Yeah. He goes, this rabbi, swear to God, because he could sense my shame. He goes, don't be ashamed. Look, Steivel or whatever the kid's name was. He goes, say the English alphabet. This is a 9-year-old boy, born in America, in school. The kid goes, A, B, D, G, G, like fucking no idea. He lived in America his entire life. This is the community my dad moved into. Like, didn't know the fucking alphabet.
Wow. Yes.
Because he didn't have to, because nobody he'd ever talked to.
But what's the reasoning for that, though? That they'll just stay within the community?
They'll never leave the community. They'll never need to leave the community. And
they'll
eventually
get work within the community.
Eventually, they'll get a little older, and they'll teach people in that community, they'll teach people just the amount of information they need to know to function in society. But they don't want people to leave, because basically what happened after the Holocaust is, it used to be, like I said, Adam Sandler's and people like that all kind of living together. Yeah. After the Holocaust, everybody moved to America or Israel or wherever they were going, and they were like, fuck that. Fuck all like integrated society. Let's build a wall around what we have left, what the small shards that we have left of our original culture, and just live inside these walls. Let's build. So it created. It was like a preservation thing, but unfortunately, it also created like some bad consequences, like people who aren't really savvy in culture and much more intermarriage than there was before, and all kinds of fucked up shit, and just bizarre shit. You know, when I was at my dad's deathbed, there's a rule when someone's dying who's religious, that another religious person has to be there to make sure everything happens in a ritualistically kosher kind of way. So I wasn't good enough for that. And I mean, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm sorry for myself. I'm just saying that to illustrate that it would be me, my father, at his deathbed, and then a random cousin who was just like twirling his curlicues to make sure everything was happening. So it's always this like weird, like, oh, hi, who are you know? Right. I guess you're here in my moment of deepest trauma. You're just gonna be. Right. And he goes. He like knew who I was, knew what my reputation was, that I was raised in California and not religious. And he goes, so you're like not religious, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, can I tell you a secret? And I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, this dude, he's gay. Like, he's gay. I'm like getting ready to be like, it's okay, you know, move to California. And he's like, I've always wanted. And he like looks over both shoulders. I'm like, gay. He goes, to be. And I'm like, gay dude, gay. He goes, a lawyer. That was his deepest, darkest secret. His deathbed confession.
To be a lawyer.
That's how far outside of the margins of society some of these people are. It's like, that would be shameful, because that's too far into the like real world.
So is that like those communities like in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That's really
the deep ones.
And they're separated from like any type of social media or TV or anything like that? Or are they still...
That's what's complicated and fucked up about the internet, is the internet is you know, you can keep shit away as much as you can try really hard, but the internet has this way of worming its way in, you know, and then people,
the internet's good.
Yeah, the internet's good, and it's bad. It's everything.
It's bad.
You can't keep it away.
Good.
And also, and then there's the internet, and then there's horniness.
You know, you mix those two things.
Yeah,
together.
I mean,
it's
I have.
over with.
I mix those two things together most nights. For about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that? Did you see that "Mommy Dead and Dearest" documentary on HBO?
Yep.
That was a perfect example. It's like this woman was living in like a Hasidic community of one. Much worse. What that is evil. I think the Hasidic community, there's some very beautiful parts about it, but it was trying to keep a wall around one human being's life. Like, you're sick, you stay sick. It was a documentary about...
Did you see that? Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
It was this documentary about a mom that kept getting fundraising money for her sick daughter.
No, I did see that.
That shit was
but that was
crazy.
Wait, no.
She wasn't sick.
What I'm saying is that she was the mom was trying to create a reality that existed only around her daughter,
Yeah.
and it was working.
Jewish.
No.
Fuck.
It was
That
although they
fucked me
did
up.
go to the hospital a lot. She was not Jewish.
Yeah, she was not Jewish.
But what I'm saying, she was trying to create a reality where she never interacted with the real world, and then all of a sudden, and it would have worked. But then that girl hit puberty, and she started going like, "I'm horny. I want to meet boys," and that popped its way out of this
literally.
like little, literally.
Yeah.
So that is a thing that has happened in the Hasidic community.
Oh, because of the internet.
Yeah.
Is the internet, and they're living in New York City, and they're living in LA. That all of a sudden, increased exposure to outside cultural forces. But the problem is, I know a lot of these people who have left, who are ex-Hasidic, and it's really
Yahoo.
I wouldn't quite qualify him.
Oh, okay.
He kind of joined. He was regular or secular, I should say, got religious, and then came back out. I'm talking about people that were born. I'm talking about ABDG. Imagine that guy. Imagine ABDG.
Can you please make that a cartoon character? Please? Moshe, I'm telling you, that kid is brilliant.
ABDG.
He's so funny.
Imagine that dude.
ABDG.
Imagine that guy trying to come to one of your shows.
Yes.
He wouldn't. He would just be like, "What is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what are any of these references?
What's a Filipino?
Yeah. What is a lickamade? Like,
What's
he
a
doesn't know.
lickamade? This is great.
So they literally have to get exit counseled back into society, literally.
Wow.
I mean, there are organizations in New York and in Israel where when those people leave, they go and they have to learn, how do you balance your own checkbook? How do you go look for a job?
Because why are they just not allowed to get help from the family anymore once they get out?
Yeah, once they leave, they
once they leave, they'll leave.
Oh, they're no contact.
Everything's different. Every family's different. It's not a classic cult in that it's not like a rule that you can never talk to your kid again, but religious organizations are what they are, and if you're no longer in the fold, then they're probably going to stop fucking with you.
Wow.
And so these people have to how does that guy become a lawyer?
Yeah.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know you go to get your bachelor's and then you go to law school and then you take the bar. He doesn't know. So somebody's got to hold that person's hand through it. There's a lot of really good artists and there's a documentary called One of Us, and there's a great book called All Who Go Do Not Return, or Not All Who Go Return, by I think the author's name is Shulam Dean. And these stories are crazy. Sometimes people have to leave their families behind too. Wow. Because they get married at 17, they have 5 kids by the time they're 25, and then they have a crisis of faith, and they're like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then it's like, well, choose. Do you want your family, your kids, or do you want to go live
so
your
they
life?
can't.
Or do
so
you
the
want
kids,
Pornhub?
Yeah, that's a good
a
option
classic
too.
dilemma.
Yeah.
A human dilemma.
So if they start a family outside and then decide they want to go back, they can't bring that family in?
I'm saying the opposite, which is they're born in, ABCD, wedding night, consummate, here
Has a
comes
bunch
kid
of
one,
kids.
and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't believe this shit anymore. I want to go be a lawyer. And then basically
But the family has to agree.
the family is like, you can leave, but you can't take these kids with you. And they're like, you can try, but there's systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
Wow.
And so a lot LA them just leave their family behind, and then they're starting over. They'll still be young. They'll be 25, moving to LA or a non-religious neighborhood in Manhattan, trying to start a life. But they have 5 children in upstate, an hour and a half away from them with their ex-wife, and they're just like,
and they don't know the alphabet.
And at that point, they might know the alphabet.
Where they hit right around 15.
Yeah. Oh, they get it together.
That's crazy, man.
No, that is crazy.
So that's my family. Like my straight up, my direct family is in that zone. And so much so that there were moments when I remember one moment in particular when I don't know why I keep centering this around my dad's death, but when we were sitting Shiva for my father, that's the mourning ritual for your parent. And 3 times a day, 10 men gather to say this prayer for the deceased or whatever. And I was surrounded by these people, and I wanted to webcam a video back home to my friends because I was like, nobody would believe it. Nobody would believe that this is my familial reality.
Wow.
If you looked at these people, I mean, you just it'd be like if you, when you went home, it was like, you know, Saudi princes surrounding you. It's like, oh, that's what Jo Koy's all about. He's like, you know, it's like, it was just like wizards. Like that's how it felt. I was like, nobody could believe this.
Yeah.
But that's my family.
That's
so when
really
I see him
reality.
in the street, there's a long way of answering. When I see him in the street, I feel like, oh, what's up, dog? Like I want to do like the you know, like the black guy nod. I want to do that. But they don't feel that way for me at all.
At all.
They don't see that in me. They're like, who the fuck is this weirdo? Like zero. They have no
connection.
I mean, if I said I'm Jewish, they would probably go like, good. But
good. Now move.
Yeah, they're
over
not,
there.
They're like, wow. But back in Europe, everybody, Adam Sandler's and those people would have been friends.
Wow, okay.
But now it's a little bit more separate. Not 100%, but a little bit more.
That's interesting because I've had conversations with Jewish people and they were like, "Oh, I'm not religious." So now I kind of understand a little more with it because it was all surface, and I was like, when they said they were, but I'm not religious, I was just like, okay, that's too much for me.
But you know what's weird is like,
I didn't understand.
Yeah.
What's weird is that I am most Jews that you know and that you've met, they don't relate to what I'm talking about at all. 90% of Jews don't have any people like that in their direct
Really?
life. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm connected to an extremely like particular kind of Jewish experience that most random Jews, if you go to the Comedy Store and there's like Jewish comedian on stage, they are like, that person is as foreign to them as they are to you.
Wow.
That's great. And I'm glad you said that because that's the reason for that question. The reason why is because I always thought you go, like, say there's a gathering and you go into that house and you'll see 5 guys in that suit. You see a bunch of them with the yarmulke, and then you see some that look like Moshe Kasher, and they're all just hanging out and they're all one big family. But it's not like that.
But it can't. No, sometimes it is.
Oh,
like
it
that.
can.
It can be like that for sure. Definitely. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush and say like they only fuck with each other and these people. No, every family's different. Every community's different, and there are certain branches of Hasidic Judaism that are super integrated into the real world. Like the main one that you might see, they do a telethon here in LA.
I watched that.
So the Chabad telethon, that is the biggest group of Hasidic Jews. They're pretty integrated and they're regular and they talk to regular people and everybody. They're pretty regular. They're kind of like really religious Catholics or Mormons who are like, you know, in the world. But my family, the people that I'm connected to, they're from a sect of Judaism where their thing was build a wall around what we've got left and get the fuck out. ABCG.
ABCG. That's the name of this pod. Moshe, this was fun.
Oh, thanks.
No, it really was, man. This was like the most fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. That was not only funny, but just like it's so informative. I think people love to hear this stuff. It's so cool to hear like the history. Like I love history, man, and I love especially religion. I've tried like studying it. You know, I'll go online. I don't read, but I go online and try and you know, listen. Like you got to at least listen.
I love history too. I've always been super taken with it. At one point in my life, I wanted to be a religious studies professor. Right before I found comedy. It's such a lifetime ago. I couldn't even imagine having done that with my life, like just been in a library with I mean, all I do is like talk about jerking off, and you know, it's like how did I go from that to this? But I'm so glad I'm here.
Yeah, where'd you go? Where'd you go to school?
UC Santa Barbara.
UC Santa Barbara,
and they have one of the greatest religious studies departments in the country.
And that was just your interest as a kid.
Well,
or when you got into college, that's when you were like,
I don't know why I wanted to do that. I think it's because I love telling stories. You know, I was also studying theater and playwriting and stuff, and so that was the comedy part of me. But like, I always wanted, I think, to be in front of people talking and telling stories. And then I realized being a professor is not that. Being a professor, you're like in a library. Like that's my brother is like an academic, and that all they do is sit in a library and read stuff and write papers. And they don't. I wanted to like talk to people. You know. I love the story.
Moshe Kasher. Moshe. I've always had problems with your name.
Everybody always has.
Yeah.
It's because I'm from the Likamade sect.
Yeah.
It's a difficult. Moshe Kasher.
Yeah, Moshe Kasher.
Can I tell you quickly about my album that I just released?
That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Moshe Kasher. And of course, you can get that on anything, any social media platform, correct?
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Moshekasher. And I just dropped an album, an all crowd work album, just a couple weeks ago called Crowd Surfing. And People love it. I love it. I'm very proud of it. It's a unique take on the Crowdwork album because I'm not just like talking to people about what they're wearing or whatever. I'm asking the crowd very specific questions and handing them a mic, and they're telling me some of their craziest stories, and I'm riffing with them as they tell these stories. And it's a wild album. It's really cool.
Where's that at?
Everywhere you get your music, iTunes, Google Play, all that jazz, and then my wife and I do a podcast together where we give relationship counseling.
And I gotta let everybody know, I keep saying his wife Natasha, but it's Natasha Leggero.
Yeah,
very
Natasha
funny.
Leggero and I. The Endless Honeymoon Podcast, it's called, and we're hitting the road. I'm going on tour together.
So cool to go on tour with your wife.
It's the best.
Yeah, because it goes 1, 2. Do you share the stage as a duo, or who goes on first?
Yeah, we did. We did a Netflix special, which is essentially our show, but the stand-up portions have changed, right?
Yeah.
So it's essentially we go on stage, she goes on for half hour, I go on for half hour, and then we bring couples up and kind of like just roast them and do like live couples counseling, which is what turned into the podcast. The podcast is a little bit more sincere and serious advice.
Yeah.
When we're on the road, it's just kind of an excuse to like kind of make fun of people.
Yeah. What my favorite thing about Natasha is we came up together, kind of slowly together. We were, just for laughs a couple times. And one thing and of course Chelsea lately.
Yeah.
But one thing I love about Natasha is if you can make Natasha laugh, you're getting the most genuine laugh. Like, when she doesn't like it, because she'll laugh, but that's not the laugh.
No, there's a
laugh that you really want to get. And when Natasha gives it to you, then you're like, okay, that was funny.
You feel funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure a big part of why I fell for her. Because it's just like this big I'm succeeding laugh, which is all people like us want.
Yeah.
Like,
whenever I was with Natasha, my goal was always to try and grab that laugh from her, like her gut laugh. And because you will get you'll get that, and you're like, oh fuck, that sucked. But when you get her doing the big mouth where she's like, you're like, oh, okay, got her.
That was my only goal with her too.
My
goal changed. Then my goal changed. Then that condom that I've been wearing since 4th grade finally came in handy. It had grown.
It shrunk. It was drier.
I remember one of the first times I was hooking up with, I'm talking early days.
Yeah.
My friend had 2 condoms that he offered me to hook up with this girl.
I only have 2 condoms.
And one was a regular condom.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up.
True.
One was in like a 25-cent
Easter egg.
pop Easter egg.
Yeah.
And it was a sheath with like a tie at the bottom.
I need that.
It was old school. Like it was like
it was a bag.
It was a bag that you would tie the bag. I know they don't make them anymore. I don't know what it was, but
they actually do have something like that now.
What is it?
It's called the ecstasy bag, and it's a wider condom.
Are you being serious?
I bought it. So it's a wider bag. You brought it up, Moshe.
No, I'm in.
So it's a wider bag. So the top doesn't.
I'm married. I haven't thought about condoms.
Yeah,
in quite a while.
You don't need it. But it's like instead of it conforming, right?
It just goes.
It's a bag. Yeah, it's a bag.
You go.
But the bottom,
you just kick it out.
Is a tight turtleneck. And it gives you the feeling that there's no condom on.
How is it? Did you use it?
It feels like her vagina's made out of a condom.
That doesn't. I don't know if I like that.
Nope. You won't.
Sounds good.
You won't.
It sounded like you were trying to sell it, but at the end, I was like, I'm out. For that reason, I am out.
That's good. Yeah, man. That was good, Moshe. No, but you put it on like you're trying to put a pillow into a pillowcase. You have to like,
like a duvet cover.
Yeah. Then you fucking, it's so funny.
Oh,
it's the funniest thing. And then the package, the sell feels like you're not wearing anything.
Right.
It's exactly what they say.
Have you seen the other version, which is the Snugger Fit condom?
Stop it.
There is such a thing, and we were laughing. I don't know who I was talking to about like how many names were pitched at the company. Marketing meeting before they're like Snugger Fit. That's the least horrifying and insulting version. Snugger Fit, teeny tiny itsy bitsy, just like a finger, weenie 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 weenie, little teeny mushroom, like where they go. Snugger Fit, that's the least insulting
Let's just
thing.
do Snugger Fit. That's funny if they have that. Who
They
sells
do.
it?
I don't. Look, I don't know, dog.
Oh yeah,
How would I know?
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard about it.
yeah.
Just heard about it.
That's good. Congratulations.
Oh, you know what I heard before you say goodbye? One more condom
I'm not
fact.
saying goodbye.
Okay, one more condom fact I heard.
Yeah.
Magnums.
Yes.
They originally were for people with bigger dicks,
Yeah.
but then people started thinking like, I want to wear Magnums.
Yeah.
So the Magnum started making their regular size Magnum more of like kind of a regular size, like a classic.
Yeah.
But it just says Magnum, so that guys could go like, I fucks with Magnums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you actually have a big dick, they have like
The XL.
Yeah. All right. Slow down, Andre.
It came a little quickly.
Yeah,
with
that was
the
too
XL.
quick.
They got
Responsive.
How funny is that?
Yeah.
They know.
There's the Denali and then there's the Escalade. I get it, Andre.
You got your
Jesus
Mediterranean
Christ.
Sea and your Pacific
there
Ocean.
you go.
Which one do you want?
Yeah. Which one do you want, man?
Hilarious.
You're so good, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're so funny. You're so
Thank you.
naturally funny.
You too.
I love it when you and I share the stage together. We've only done it once, but like this right here is just a perfect opportunity to just riff with you again. And just like, man, I love it when people are just naturally funny.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I love comedy. I
Yeah.
love comedians.
When did you know you wanted to be a comic?
That's an interesting question. I didn't grow up. Did you grow up thinking you wanted to be a comedian?
Yeah,
Do you do stand up as
100%.
well?
No.
Nope.
It-
I bet him $50 and he went and did
And I
it.
did.
I mean, you're funny.
I did.
Yeah, you got
Thank you.
laughs.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, you got
But,
laughs.
did you grow up always wanting to do stand up? Yeah. See, I
Yep.
didn't. I
I
wanted,
saw Eddie Murphy when I was 15 years old at
Live?
the Seattle Coliseum. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I went to Raw. Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh, I'm very jealous. of
And that was the day I was like, I want to be a comic.
That's
well, I
fucking awesome.
wanted to before that, but that was the day where I was like, wow, this is amazing.
That's cool. I never watched anyone and thought that it was connected to me. Oh, and I'm talking all the way into like 2 years into stand-up. I still hadn't connected the idea that what I was doing at open mics was connected to Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't know that. I kind of vaguely intellectually knew it, but it just didn't seem real to me that this thing at this coffee shop that I'm doing could eventually lead to Robin Williams, could eventually lead to, or even just what I'm doing, like professional. It was so hard for me to make that translation. And growing up, I didn't necessarily want to do stand-up. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write, but I didn't even, not necessarily comedy. I wanted to that was my idea. I want to be a writer. I didn't even know what that meant, you know?
Yeah.
And then I started studying acting and playwriting, and then eventually Chelsea Peretti and I grew up together, and I went to New York on a vacation, and she was doing stand-up, and she took me to one of her open mics, and I was like, oh, this is kind of the mixture of all the different things I've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be in front of people. I want to write my own stuff, but I want to perform it. And then when she came to the Bay that summer, I had written 5 minutes of material, and we went to an open mic together. But it still took me like 2 years in open mics to go like, oh, you can translate, because open mics feel so not connected to professional.
At 100%.
Like they just feel like a full hobby.
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And guess what I do, Moshe?
Yeah.
I still go to them.
Do you really?
I still go up at open mics.
Wow,
And you
that's
know what
impressive.
You know what else I do? When I'm on tour, I go to local open mics, like the Dinge, the bar, and I'll go up. I'll do like 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
and
very
then-
impressed with that.
Oh, I love it, man. That's
I
my
started
thing.
to feel that it was bad for me because I would
Yeah.
take a thing to an open mic and it wouldn't do well, and I would go, I guess that wasn't funny, and then it would be like, no, it needed to be
Yeah.
but maybe you're not as affected by the
No,
circumstances.
I don't care.
You'll
I
just
think I
perform your
literally
full-
use it just to get that
the words.
in me
Yeah.
to still feel that armor
How much do you write?
always.
Like
yeah.
how many minutes a year you think you write?
Probably close to three or 4
What?
hours.
Oh, 3 or 4 hours a year?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't
For
even, okay.
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
does it go?
If I don't get it on my special, it disappears.
It just goes away.
Yeah, and it makes me really mad, because a lot of it is dated. Like, when my son gets a year older, that's done. So I got I got a certain time frame for that. Then there's jokes where he'll even remind me, like, "Yo, you remember that one thing?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah!" And I'll go back up and do
3
that.
or 4 hours a year?
Oh, for sure.
I fucking liked you until this moment.
Yeah.
No, I'm not feeling this at all anymore.
But I have to though. Like my special dropped. I need a new hour.
But you do an hour. Yeah, but that's an hour a year.
I dropped the hour Coming in Hot in June, and then I went and shot another hour 5 months later, 6 months later.
Yeah. Why do you do that so much?
I mean, I
just because it feels so temporary, and if you don't get it out, then
I gotta go up.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm saying, why do you think you put specials out so often? I guess the money's there too, but
no, I don't put them out that often. I mean, it's every other year I'm putting them out.
Oh, every other year. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but it's just like.
But the time frame to shoot is so short.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And then I also have to move forward because things are getting old and stale.
Right.
So and there's also a demand. Right now, so I got to keep it fresh.
Right.
So when I go back into a city, I got a lot of repeats. I'm playing a bigger, and I got to have something new.
You should do a B-sides album.
Dude,
all the shit you didn't shoot.
Man, that's a great idea. Yeah. And there was an idea of me already doing that.
Oh, good. Yeah,
because what I wanted
that's sort of my sweet spot is I pitch things that have already been pitched.
Yeah.
Okay, hear me out before you finish.
Yeah.
Orange chicken. I'm just saying. No, listen to what I'm saying. It's a bit about that.
Yeah, that's great. That's
what
great.
Do you think? Okay,
I love it.
One more idea.
Yeah,
it's a bar.
Yeah.
Okay. The bartender, he's an ex-pro pitcher. Okay. He owns the bar, but he doesn't drink anymore.
Okay.
Let's call the guy Pam Malone.
Okay. Yeah.
And then in comes a lady. This is Cheers, is what I'm pitching to you.
Oh, I got it.
I realized in the middle of my pitch that I should have gone a little more contemporary to make it a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Why a 35-year-old TV show that I was trying to pitch? In that?
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying something about me being naturally funny. Let's talk about that.
That's great.
Oh yeah, I like this Jo Koy B-sides.
Well, I was already thinking about that, like, because everything's so visual, but now at pods, like. Yo, there needs to be albums again.
Right.
So I was, I riff a lot on stage.
Me too.
Yeah, I can go 40, 50 minutes solid before even getting into a joke. And then I was talking to one of the guys I was opening with, and he was like, dude, you should just do the best of Jo Koy, that stuff you're never going to put on your special.
Completely.
The shit that only lives in a venue that night, and just put it out. And I'm like, yep, I'm going to do it.
That's why I figured with this crowd, I mean, a big part of my act, too, is crowd work. It's always been a big part of what I do. And I was always, like, frustrated that probably my biggest weapon was something that if you watch my specials, you're not really, a little bit on the most recent Netflix special, but you're not really going to get, like, the classic what it is to see me experience, because really what I'm doing is, like, fucking around a lot. When you're filming $100,000, Netflix special, you can fuck around a little, but really you kind of, let's get to the material and put this thing out. So then I that's why I put this latest album out. I was like, I really want to showcase this part of who I am as a performer.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, why haven't I been doing this for the last 10 years? Like, it's so easy. I go to a town, and I mean, it's not easy to become a person that can do it. But in the moment, it's like, I go to a town, people are excited to see the show because it's something different. I don't waste any material. I don't drop. It's just pure sort of like off the dome. And the album, I was worried. I was like, I hope that it'll translate into feeling like a real listener experience. Yeah. And it totally did. I was totally proud of it.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
And you did it yourself, out of your own pocket?
No, I put it out through I recorded it all out of my own pocket, and then a record company, Comedy Dynamics, bought it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But you produced it.
Yeah, I produced it.
Your pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
It.
But it was just an album, so it's like, it's not like a special, which will cost.
But don't ever say it like that.
No, I just mean financially. Like, it's a little different if I wanted to go to a town and self-produce a stand-up special. Are you doing your own specials now?
The first one, Live from Seattle, I shot myself because they said no. So I was like, but this hour needs to be shot. Yeah. And if you're going to say no, and they were like, oh, we'll see you next year. We'll look at it. And I'm like, well, it's going to be old because these jokes are about my son being 12.
Right.
2 more years, he's going to be 14, 13. It's like, no, I got it. So I went and shot it myself, and then I sold it to Netflix.
Right.
Yeah. And then the Coming in Hot they paid, but when you said that it's just an album, we still live in a day and age where they got all the tools that they need to do it and make it, and they just don't do it.
Right, totally.
And that's why, like, when you said that, it was like, it's just an album. No, you made it because you're like, I have a fucking great idea, and I'm gonna make it.
But there is also something cool about albums versus specials. Specials are different spiritual feelings.
Yeah.
Like a special is much more pizzazz.
Yeah.
And an album's much more like, you hear those
Raw.
old 60s. Yeah, they're much more raw. Like,
baby.
You like to hear the drinks tinking and the people coughing, and there's something very cool about that.
Yeah, Richard Pryor smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. Eddie Murphy at the funny at comic strip. Like,
I love those.
Just where he just fucking you hear the drinks clanking, the bartender serving. That's beautiful.
There's something really cool
There's
about
something
that.
cool
too.
about that.
Yeah.
That's why my special, I put it on an album for that very reason, just to have my own album. So I'm getting ready to do that B-side. So
yeah, hell
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
so you
man.
better, I mean, thank me in the
I
liner
guess
notes.
EP.
Since even though you already had the idea, like
well, that was his disclaimer.
Oh
yeah. Right when you said it, he's like, I already.
Blah, 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 blah.
we were talking a lot about Judaism. He's like, I've always wanted to be a lawyer.
Moshe Kasher.
Hell yeah. Come see me live. Listen to my podcast. Buy my album. I
Can
love
you please spell your name?
MOSHEKASHER. We're doing a big old stand-up tour too, all over the country and a bunch of different other countries too. So
you guys are gonna crush it.
Fuck with us.
Natasha Leggero, and of course the very funny, very talented, and very smart Moshe Kasher.
Lick-a-maid.
There we go.